It's funny what kind of people are attracted to. You know, I'm just trying to keep the main thing. The main thing is that's basketball, trying to win games, sticking up for my teammates.
Making it known, like if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it.
Yeah, you know, I think that's just who I am. It's my personality.
Caitlin Clark just pulled off the most unexpected assist of her career, and it didn't happen on the court. While the world was buzzing about her $25 million Nike deal, Caitlin shocked everyone by turning the spotlight on her teammate, Sophie Cunningham. What happened next sent shockwaves through the WNBA and redefined what it means to be a true star in sports.
Top WNBA pick Caitlin Clark, her first pro game, 10 days away. But even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
Caitlin Clark had already made a name for herself as a game-changer in women's basketball. But no one saw this coming. The deal Caitlin Clark signed with Nike was nothing short of monumental. A $25 million deal, shattering records and making her the highest-paid player in WNBA history.
Well, Caitlin Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
This wasn't just a victory for Caitlin, it was a huge win for women's sports. Nike wasn't just buying a player, they were buying a movement. Caitlin was more than a shooting star. She represented what the future of women's sports could look like.
Referees, are they ever gonna call a foul? Y'all gonna call a foul? Did you swallow your whistle?
And while many players in the NBA or WNBA would be satisfied with just a paycheck and a pair of flashy sneakers, Caitlin had something much bigger in mind. She wasn't just making history, she was about to change the whole narrative around female athletes and what it meant to use their platform for something bigger than themselves.
This is their best record in over 10 years.
But here's the thing. Caitlin wasn't just any rookie. She was a force of nature. She had come into the league with a fire that couldn't be matched, with the kind of confidence that makes legends. Just a few months into her rookie season, she had already earned herself the biggest sneaker deal in WNBA history, making waves in a way that most veteran players could only dream of.
It's really hard to develop a boldly disruptive shoe on Zoom.
And then rolling that into what will be her shoe later in the year.
This deal wasn't just about the numbers, it was about the message. Caitlin was showing the world that talent, hard work, and ambition could break through every barrier, stereotype, and expectation.
This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game in the WNBA. And then also, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game had 3.4 million viewers, and that's the most watched WNBA.
Caitlin Clark was no longer just a basketball player. She was a trailblazer, a pioneer, someone who wasn't just playing the game. She was changing it. And this deal, this $25 million deal, was just the beginning. But little did we know, the real surprise was still to come.
Attendance when it comes to viewership, when it comes to jersey sales, when it comes to merch sales, it's going to be the biggest that we have seen.
Because in a league where players fight for contracts,
Caitlin's $25 million deal wasn't just about securing the biggest contract in WNBA history. It was a statement that she wasn't just here to play. She was here to lead. Nike didn't just see Caitlin's raw talent. They saw a cultural force. They saw someone who could be more than a player on the court.
Gotta speak up and speak out. At this point, they don't even care if we speak out.
Caitlin Clark, currently the face of the WNBA, yes.
Caitlin had the power to shape an entire generation of young athletes, especially women. Nike saw her as the perfect representation of what they were looking for, someone with a voice, a story, and the power to change the game.
But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it.
But here's where it gets interesting. Nike didn't just sign Caitlin for her game on the court. They saw what she could build off of it. Caitlin wasn't just going to sell sneakers, she was going to sell a story, a movement. And this wasn't just about the numbers on a contract. It was about Caitlin showing the world what it means to truly support and elevate others. It wasn't just about her success, it was about what she could do with that success.
in sports.
How people view Caitlin Clark and whether people view that the WNBA needs to protect Caitlin Clark, the golden goose of a league as which she is being called.
After securing the deal, Caitlin invited her teammate Sophie Cunningham to what appeared to be a simple Nike event. Sophie assumed it would be a run-of-the-mill photo shoot or a media opportunity, but what she walked into was nothing short of life-changing. Caitlin had invited Sophie not just as a teammate, but as a symbol of what true teamwork, loyalty, and friendship look like. This wasn't just another thank you moment. Caitlin had something much bigger in mind. And Sophie? She had no idea what was about to happen.
She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first MVP season.
Imagine this. The lights go down, the room goes completely dark, the audience is silent. The only thing they can see is a giant screen in front of them. A film starts rolling. It's Caitlin's journey, her rise from Iowa to the WNBA. All the highs, all the struggles, all the moments that made her who she is today. The buzzer beaters, the critics, the sold-out arenas, and the people who stood by her. It's a tribute to Caitlin Clark's journey, and it's clear this film is meant to celebrate her. But then something unexpected happens. Nike hands Caitlin a custom gold-stitched jersey, something only legends get. And just when everyone thought the celebration was about Caitlin, she turns to Sophie and says, "This isn't just for me. This is for every woman who shows up, fights hard, and protects her team." The room is silent. No one saw this coming. And at that moment, Caitlin made it clear, this wasn't just about her success. It was about her teammate, her partner in crime, Sophie Cunningham.
You're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down.
What happens next is what truly defines Caitlin's character. Caitlin didn't just accept the spotlight for herself. Instead, she used her $25 million deal to elevate someone else.
Her ability to step up in big moments. When the bright lights are on, Caitlin Clark is also on.
Instead of just basking in her success, Caitlin invited Sophie into her world. Nike handed Sophie Cunningham a custom player edition sneaker, designed in Indiana Fever colors with the words "No Backing Down" stitched on the heel. But it wasn't just a sneaker, it was a statement. Inside the box was something even bigger, a contract, a sub-deal under Caitlin's own Nike endorsement terms. Caitlin Clark had used her newfound power to give Sophie a piece of the pie.
This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game.
She didn't just thank her teammate with words. She brought her into the fold with an actual business deal. This wasn't a token gesture. It was a genuine move that spoke volumes about Caitlin's character, her leadership, and her loyalty.
Not blame Sophie at all. Like, I have her back.
But why Sophie Cunningham? Why of all people would Caitlin elevate her teammate above everyone else? In a world where players are constantly fighting for attention, endorsement deals, and recognition, why share that moment with someone else? Well, the answer is simple. Sophie Cunningham has been Caitlin's enforcer, her ride or die since day one.
So we know the new Caitlin Clark Nike shoes came out, and they sold out. It was rumored that 13,000 pairs of Caitlin Clark's new Nike basketball sneakers were being sold on June 30th.
While Caitlin was breaking records and making waves, Sophie was the one taking the hits, standing up for her, and doing the dirty work no one saw. Sophie was the one who made sure Caitlin could focus on the game without worrying about anything else. She was Caitlin's protector, the one who stepped up when things got rough. Caitlin didn't forget that loyalty. She didn't forget the sacrifices Sophie had made. And in that moment, Caitlin made sure the world knew what Sophie meant to her.
Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm going to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional. It was to me.
In the cutthroat world of sports, loyalty is rare. Players fight for contracts, media attention, and recognition. But Caitlin didn't play by those rules.
Is going to change. And not much is going to change until there's literally a shift in how they view the WNBA, how they view good basketball on the court.
She didn't just accept the spotlight for herself. Instead, she used her success to lift someone else up. Loyalty in Caitlin's world wasn't a weakness, it was a strength. She could have basked in the glory of her $25 million deal, but instead, she chose to share it with Sophie. Caitlin Clark showed everyone that true power doesn't come from taking more, it comes from giving more. And in a world where egos often drive players to tear each other down, Caitlin proved that loyalty, trust, and support are the real foundations of greatness.
And I'm here to tell you, it is not a good moment in the fan base. Fans are quiet online. A lot of people are starting to look like they're reselling their All-Star tickets.
This wasn't just a gesture, it was a statement. Caitlin didn't just give Sophie a pair of sneakers and a contract. She gave her something far more important, a seat at the table. Caitlin didn't need to do this. She could have celebrated alone, enjoying the fruits of her massive deal. But instead, she chose to make Sophie a part of her success. She used her platform to elevate someone else, to recognize someone who had always been there for her. This was more than just a business deal. It was about honoring the relationships that truly matter.
They had other ads and things that came out, but since then, it has been cricket.
When Sophie saw the custom sneakers and the contract, her reaction was pure emotion. She was overwhelmed. Tears streamed down her face. She had never expected something like this. It wasn't just about the shoes. It was about the recognition. It was about Caitlin saying, "I see you, I appreciate you, and I want the world to see it too."
Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million.
Sophie had always been the one who worked behind the scenes. She wasn't after the spotlight, but Caitlin gave it to her anyway. And in that moment, Caitlin showed the world that sometimes the most meaningful victories aren't about the records, the fame, or the deals. They're about the people who have your back when no one else does.
Thank God they get Caitlin Clark. She's injured for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, attendance goes down.
Caitlin's decision didn't just affect her and Sophie. It changed the entire locker room. Suddenly, the players weren't just teammates. They were family. Alyssa Thomas, a veteran player, was overheard saying, "Caitlin just gave Sophie the kind of shine most of us never get in our entire careers." And Caitlin didn't even blink. The message was clear. In Caitlin's world, loyalty came before ego, and that was something the whole team could get behind.
Her ability to step up in big moments. When the bright lights are on, Caitlin Clark is also on.
Caitlin's decision didn't just affect her and Sophie, it changed the entire locker room. Suddenly, the players weren't just teammates, they were family. Alyssa Thomas, a veteran player, was overheard saying, "Caitlin just gave Sophie the kind of shine most of us never get in our entire careers." And Caitlin didn't even blink. The message was clear. In Caitlin's world, loyalty came before ego, and that was something the whole team could get behind.
Continues to prove her worth on the court every single time she steps on the court. And with that, she had a huge impact on elevating her entire team yesterday.
You don't really get to be a dog and get to that platform where you get to bring a national title, the first one back to LSU, without having that type of mentality, that chip on your shoulder. And I feel like we have to let these young women be unapologetically themselves.
Caitlin's gesture wasn't just a sports story, it was a cultural moment. By using her moment to elevate Sophie, Caitlin was sending a message far beyond the basketball court. This was about leadership, teamwork, and authenticity. Caitlin wasn't just a great player, she was a trailblazer. She was showing the world that the most valuable players don't just win games, they change lives.
Caitlin Clark running the show. Caitlin Clark running the offense, being the innovator of offense, the distributor of offense for the Indiana Fever.
Caitlin's influence goes far beyond the WNBA. Her story is changing the landscape of women's sports. Nike didn't just sign Caitlin because of her jump shot. They saw something bigger. Caitlin was a cultural force, someone who could use her platform to make an impact far beyond the court. She was redefining what it means to be a female athlete in a male-dominated world, and she was doing it in a way no one had ever done before. Nike's decision to partner with Caitlin wasn't just about her playing style. It was about the story she was telling. Nike saw in Caitlin what the rest of the world was starting to see, a leader who wasn't just talented on the court, but who could change the entire sports landscape. Nike wasn't just buying a player, they were buying a movement.